of the game as the game is getting underway.
This matchup, and I think that the strength of that really is coming from him getting an established third base very quickly and just having an even ground in a macro game, or perhaps even being a little bit farther ahead than his Zerg opponent, and nobody's really punished him thus far. And when they have gone for early punishment, he's able to defend it and transition into more of a normal game. So I feel like if he's able to get up to a quick third base, perhaps even before the Zerg player, he could do very well in this first game.
All right, so let's go ahead and figure out what's happening now. It looks like it will be binaries. Is it? How do you say that name?
Uh, Candid?
Okay, I was gonna say Candy for some, or Candy D. So binaries Candid spawning over here as the blue Zerg at what I'll call the 5 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Rocker, the pretty in purple Protoss at the 2 o'clock position. Protoss versus Zerg, and it looks as though Rocker is gonna be opening up with a pylon on the front ground here, perhaps setting up a Forge fast expansion. And Rocker really likes this macro style of play, but Candy opening up with what is this?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a very fast pool coming from the Zerg player, and this is sort of a metagame play on this map. A lot of Zerg players don't really like it because Protoss is able to get a pretty easy Forge Fast Expand, but if you want to stop that right away, then you start out with this spawning pool very early before your first Overlord, and you come out with these 6 Lings. They're able to do a lot of damage, and Rocker is scouting the wrong direction. If he had scouted south first, he would have seen this. He would have been able to get up a Forge and then a Pylon and Cannon at his nexus and sort of reset the game, but it's going to be quite a while before he sees the spawning pool. The Lings might actually get to his base before he even sees it, and if he starts out with a nexus first rather than a Forge, it could spell trouble.
Yeah, it could definitely spell trouble. We'll see what's going to be happening next. It looks like though it is going to be a Forge first here, and I like the placement on this Forge. The Forge is in a position where it actually makes the choke point a little bit more narrow, but a drone will be coming in, and the Zerglings are already out. It should take about 40 seconds for them to get over there, and the key question will be whether or not Rocker sets up a pylon in his main base. If he does do that, he should be able to get one photon cannon up there and perhaps reset it just a little bit, as we now see a probe making its way across the map.
Yeah, and it looks like the probe might spot these Lings. Not quite sure. The Lings will hit the front door, though. The Forge is up. The Nexus has not gone down, and the Lings doing the smart thing, making their way right towards the mineral line. Already the pylon is going down, and I'm not sure about the position of that pylon. It might be pretty difficult to defend by Rocker, and it also gives the opportunity for the Zerglings to get a decent surround. It's not flush up against the Nexus, but that pylon will finish. And it looks like Rocker's going to be trying to fend off these Lings, and he does have to get a cannon up, but he doesn't have enough minerals at this point to do that. So he might be just going with a probe defense here against these Lings. He's got to catch them in a decent surround, and I imagine he's going to want to get a cannon down very quickly.
He already has one photon cannon at the ramp, so that pretty much means that no more Zerglings will be able to get in. Meanwhile, the pylon over here at the main base has already been taken down, and that is going to reset things for Rocker. Rocker is in a bit of trouble, needs to cancel one of his probes here. And what's going to be happening next is those Zerglings are just going to be dancing around. A new pylon will be coming in. The harvester count is 10 to 11 to 20, so it is still in favor of Rocker, but Rocker really needed to start a photon cannon earlier. We'll see what's going to be happening next. Perhaps the probes should be stacked up on top of each other, so when they do get a hit off, it would be a little bit more effective. As here we go, once more the probes and the Lings battling it out.
Yeah, at the very least, if he didn't start a cannon, he can't lose that pylon. Just the threat of that pylon there, it's the only thing basically that the Lings can take down at this point. So he's got to try to defend it. It looks like he is going to be doing that now, and Rocker's going to try to transition into more of a standard one-base game, getting that gateway down, and I imagine he might be going for the cybernetics core after that, but we don't yet have any gas for Rocker. Back at the base of the Zerg player, we do have a gas up, so I imagine he will be getting speed in just a little bit once he does start mining gas.
All right, we'll see what's going to be happening next. There are a lot of probes just still chasing around the Zerglings. Meanwhile, during this time, Candid was able to set up his own natural expansion, but Candid still behind in terms of harvesters, down by 8. But it doesn't really make too much of a difference, as 5 of the 8 harvesters, or 6 of the 8 harvesters, are just dancing with these Zerglings. The Zerglings will be not getting that metabolic boost anytime soon, and Candid just doing a good job running in circles. And for some reason, Rocker has yet to set up a photon cannon at his main base just quite yet.
Yeah, it's gonna make it so the probes have to continue to dance with those lings, and the natural regeneration on the lings is gonna give them ample opportunity to continue to harass here, trying to take on that pylon. We do have the cybernetics core down. The gas has started for Rocker, and already we see speed on the way for Candid, and he, again, like you said, is at a drone disadvantage, but right now it's just 4. So Rocker does have his second Nexus on the way, and I imagine he will just be pumping economy once he cleans up these Zerglings, and we'll see what sort of tech both players go for. A second Photon Cannon does go down for Rocker, so he's going to be a little bit better defended against any sort of follow-up all-in coming from the Zerg player.
All right, so right now I think Rocker pretty much has all of these Zerglings easily handled. All the Zealot can really do is perhaps try to catch up to those Zerglings. More probes are now being transferred over to the natural expansion, so it is going to be 2 bases versus 2. The Cybernetics core is already up and running, researching that warp gate tech, and Rocker should be able to follow this up very nicely, but Rocker doesn't really know what's going on inside Candid's base. He doesn't know what to expect and what follow-up there will be. Candid has been power droning this entire time and now has evened it up and will be taking the worker count lead in just a second, as he's now about to finish off 7 additional drones.
Yeah, if Rocker uses his second 100 gas here on an early upgrade, he might have some sort of warp gate timing that he could take advantage of. The Zerg economy is just now getting underway, so it's been several minutes of very low drone count for the Zerg player. I'm not quite sure he's going to have the economy to handle some sort of gateway pressure here if Rocker does choose to go for that, but like I said in the early part of the game, Rocker is a macro player in PvZ, so maybe he'll just go for a very quick third. We do have an Overlord making its way towards a third of Rocker, so Candid is going to have a spot on that third if it does go up. We do have Lings patrolling the center of the field. No probes will be getting across to place down any proxy pylons, so we'll see how the game develops.
All right, but Rocker was already able to sneak out 1 probe, and it is warping in a pylon over here at the 12 o'clock position. Interestingly enough, we'll see if a Nexus or what exactly comes of that. He could be trying to go for a fast third. Matron has been saying that he does like to, in fact, go for a very heavy macro style, as we also see a Twilight Council coming in. The Twilight Council, one of the favorite units, or Twilight Council leading to Dark Shrine, one of the favorite units for Rocker. Kind of a trump card in terms of any cheese, as it does force a lot of overseers, but now we see a Nidus network coming in from Candid.
Yeah, and we've got Hydra Den and Zerglings on the way, so it's going to be very high DPS, very low HP units coming out from Candid, but I think that they're going to do quite well against the gateway units of Rocker, and if this Overseer, which is in the base of Rocker, is able to survive and place down that Nidus Worm in a good position, I think this game could be over pretty quickly, especially with the third going down for Rocker. He just doesn't have a lot invested in defense at this point.
We'll see what's going to be happening. That Overseer was not able to really set up anything. He did drop a Changeling, but the Changeling was quickly taken out. The Overseer could be trying to come back, make another pass, or make another move. We'll see what's going to be happening, as Rocker has lost, I believe. Oh, nope, in comes the pylon over here, and here we go. Candid is going to try to go for a Nidus Worm. The Nidus Worm will get handled, though, and those Nidus Worms are not free. You got to be careful about that, but Rocker does have 1 unpowered gateway as a new Nidus network coming in. Rocker's going to start shooting at that as well. It is about halfway. No, it's 3/4 of the way completed. Probes are going to try to come around it and perhaps get it taken down. It looks like it will get taken down, as well as the Overseer are going to get destroyed. And Candid is, just not doing enough. And Rocker perhaps just doing a better job cleaning this up, making it look very easy to be everywhere at once.
Handled that beautifully. He's got decent spread here with pylons in his base, so he's able to scout the Nidus Worms, and taking down that front one, a big key. A lot of times Zerg players will place down the one in the front and then the one in your base, and they sort of get you in that pincher attack. And again, Hydra's so high DPS, very, very good against early gateway units, and Rocker really went more of the econ and the basic unit route rather than tech. He does have DTs. We'll see how much damage he's able to do with those.
All right, Zerglings look like they're going to be trying to hit the top or the 12 o'clock position. He may suspect that there is an expansion. No, he does not. Doesn't see them. And now 2 Dark Templars sitting there, very, very happy, very lucky that those Zerglings did not do any serious damage whatsoever, as those Zerglings are now backing away once more. A second Photon Cannon about to finish and a third one as well, as we now see a ninja hatchery coming in from Candid. Both players with hidden expansions, and both players not knowing that their hidden expansion is a neighbor to the other.
And we just had the DTs go by the center tower, and they actually deactivate it. So if Candid saw that, he might notice that DTs are on the way. We do see that he has no detection back in his base at this point, no overseers and no spore crawlers. So we'll see how much damage the DTs are able to do. There's going to be one in the natural and one in the main.
All right, it looks like all of the drones have been pulled from the natural or from the main already. The natural about to get up that spore crawler, and now down goes that one Dark Templar there. Units are making a move. Rocker already has level 1 weapons upgrade during this time, and it looks like Candid trying to set up his 3rd and 4th base, but he's not going to be able to transfer any serious drones. One Dark Templar going to get taken out by a Hydralisk, and it looks as though Rocker during this time was able to establish a very strong economic lead. 70 harvesters versus 56. Candid was no longer really power droning, and with that, when Rocker was able to just run off of 3 base nexus, he has now taken the lead, and we'll see what's going to be happening next.
Yeah, Candid invested so much into that Nidus attack. He's got a ton of Lings out on the field. Actually, about 20 of them disappear now that these Archons are out controlling that center tower, but he really, like you said, was not able to drone for several minutes there while he did prepare for that Nidus attack. And when it didn't work, he's just left with those units, and they were not able to do any damage at all. They took down the pylon in the north, but they never found that 3rd base for Rocker. And Rocker is up, rocking and rolling at 78 probes now compared to 67 harvesters for the Zerg player. And Rocker about to establish a 4th. He's going to be able to max out in the next few minutes here, have a very strong push.
Yeah, Rocker also with those 2-0 Archons are going to be able to one-shot many of those Zerglings and even those Banelings coming in, and importantly also be able to 2-shot many of those Hydralisks if they can get within range. And we can see that Baneling movement speed is coming in. We are going into Spine Crawlers as well, and it looks as though the Ninja expansion of Candid is starting to get up and running. More and more drones will be trained, but will it be enough, as we are going to be going into a Baneling bombing run here? Is it going to be enough? It looks like the Banelings are all trying to run away, and beautifully handled. Candid really not getting that many worker kills at all, and Rocker playing very, very well.
Yeah, 5 total kills. Now Rocker placing pylons and cannons around his main as well. And that's where Candid does have a few overlords full of banelings. So he's going to try another drop here. We'll see how effective it's going to be. But Rocker, like I said, going to max out in the next minute or two here. Has that 4th being established, and he is focusing down overlords and overseers as they enter his base. A big drop in the main of banelings. And this time they do make good connection on those probes. He was able to take down 8 there, but at this point, Rocker doing a decent job sort of deflecting all the different strategies his opponent's going for. Another drop in the natural this time, and again, this time was able to take down 13 probes. So this is exactly what Candid needs to do to get back in this one. It evens up the harvester count a little bit. In fact, Candid is now ahead 80 to 62.
Yeah, that was beautiful play. I was a little bit concerned. Candid didn't get the critical upgrade. He didn't get level 2 weapons upgrade or the melee attack upgrade. So it did take 2 Banelings to destroy a batch of probes. I mean, perhaps if he had waited a little bit longer, then it would have worked out. He wouldn't have tipped his hand nearly as much. Rocker will be expecting this now, perhaps getting some more photon cannons inside his base. You can see a Templar Archives now coming in as well, as Rocker is up on 4 bases, and so is Candid. Both players thinking that perhaps they're a little bit ahead, but Candid not knowing about the hidden expansion, and Rocker not knowing about the hidden expansion either.
And Candid's really oversaturated at his first 2 bases. His 3rd has decent saturation, but he's got to help himself out here and even out the harvesters. He does have to transfer some harvesters to that 4th, as it's just not working for anything but gas right now, where Rocker has pretty decent saturation on all of his bases. He just did lose a lot of probes, so he doesn't have all 4 mineral lines fully saturated, but he's about to max out. He does have 2-1 upgrades at this point, Extended Thermal Lance and Storm both about to finish, and he's going to be seeing a very powerful timing here in the next several minutes once he does max out and gets another Colossi or 2.
All right, so we'll see what Candid's going to do next. Candid's sitting on about 3,000 resources, or he was, now just upping his production, going into some Infestors. The Infestor is really what he needs in order to perhaps slow down this attack, but there are a lot of Sentries. Sentries working with Colossi and High Templar, always a very deadly combination, as they're able to Psy Storm and corral those units. And once those units are corralled, high DPS units with low hit points such as Hydralisks and Zerglings don't fare too well, but it already looks like Candid ready to counter this. He already has some banelings ready to go inside Overlords, and now also going into the Greater Spire.
Yeah, Baneling drops definitely sort of counter those sentries as they're going to place down force fields, but you can drop right on top of them. They're very low HP, and we'll see whether Cannon's able to get a good drop off here. We do have the hatchery about to go down. A Greater Spire is on the way for Cannon, so if he's able to get that up and get out some Broodlords, that could do pretty well for him. But here come the Baneling drops, able to do a lot of damage to the sentries, but a blink back with those Stalkers, and it looks like Candid might run out of gas a little bit here. He does have Corruptors out, trying to focus down those Colossi, but really the majority of his DPS was in the Baneling bombs, and after those were sort of foiled by Rocker. He didn't take a lot of damage. He's still alive and kicking in the base of the Zerg player. Now he's going to be going for those all-important tech structures and hatcheries. These Zerglings coming out, streaming out by Candid, but they're no match for these 2-2 Colossi and these Blink Stalkers with Archon support. And now I think this is going to be GG. It's 191 to 140.
Yeah, Rocker just in a dominating position right now. Even if it does turn into some sort of base race, the base race is very much in favor of Rocker. Candid did a good job trying to get back into this game, but I can't see how he can get back into this now. He's already down by 60 food, or 60 supply. He is only down 11 workers. Where did all the drones go? Perhaps in the Nidus network. But he does need to unload those units somewhere else somehow.
Yeah, he's unloading them at the 4th, where he's also getting up his hatchery, so he's very oversaturated there. He's trying to replace all of his tech. He's got double Spire on the way, as well as a spawning pool and an Evo chamber, but Rocker's very quickly going to be finding what was the 3rd of Candid, now basically the 2nd of Candid, and Candid doing his best to desperately establish bases here to really use these drones. Again, like you said, he's got 67 drones, and that makes up the majority of his population at this point. Rocker continues to be maxed, and I imagine he's going to be sending DTs all around the map at this point. There's not much in the way of detection here at the 4th for Candid, so just a few DTs could spell the end of this game for the Zerg player.
All right, Candid does have that double Spire. We'll see if it's going to be enough. He is taking the tier 2. Drones are all running around the map. Stalkers are running away from the drones, apparently, not knowing where the location actually is. And we could be going for another bombing run here in just a moment. One overeager Baneling unable to get there, but Candid gives the GG already after spotting that 4th base. And Rocker, the PVZ specialist, does put up vVv 1-0.
Yeah, like I said,